Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. All right, it's getting close to that big day, probably one of the most important days of the year. For some people, not for others. The sad part is nobody, or just about nobody, or everybody that thinks they do, have no clue what the day's about, what it really means, what it meant, and where we're going from that. Right? I'm not a preacher. No, I mean, I was. I'm a certified minister. But I studied everything from voodoo, witchcraft, demonism, spiritualism at every level. Left my body many times, traveled, had 5 death experiences, met with an alien, met with a Bigfoot. So I have my experiences. It's mine, for real. Not a dream, not a fantasy. I wasn't doing drugs any during the times. I have a lot of witnesses during them. So when I talk, there's some noise in the background. I try to keep it as real as I can, which is just about 100%. I don't follow other people's stories. I don't tell you other people's stories unless it's pertaining to something that I'm talking about. But I don't give credit to anything that I haven't proven to myself. And I'm not going to give it to you if I don't believe it's real. Now, when I speak, when I do a show, when I do a lecture, when I do anything, it's based on what I know, perceived, went through, and experienced. It's not about other people's suggestions, ideas. It's not about mind programming. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's actual experience of this life and all my other lifetimes I have, which I remember completely. Not every single thing in each lifetime, but most of the important things. So what I'm going to lead you today is in one of the most important days of the year, which is chalked off as a candy day, a food day, a happy day, a giving day, and all those kind of things. I mean, sure, you'll hear the birth of Christ, but what was that? We'll talk about all this. I don't know how much time I'm going to spend on this. I'm going to go as long as I can. If you get bored, please leave. If you're happy, stay. Do whatever you can, because this is going to get as real as it's ever going to get, probably when you hear a speaker talking. I put my life on the line when I speak. I don't care. Hold on. Where things come from, what people say. I will die in my truth. I live in my truth. I walk my path. I don't walk anybody else's path. I don't listen to other people following ridiculous paths. All right. Now, let's start somewhere. Where were you born? I was born in Jersey City Medical Center. They called it Margaret Haig. Just about everybody born in Jersey when I was born in that hospital. About 6.5 years later, I was in that hospital, and I saw a ship coming to abduct my brother. We were in the hospital having our tonsils taken out. Me the first time. My brother was having them out for the second time. They screwed up the first time. I don't want to go into that story, but it started then. And then for the next 5 months, I couldn't deal with that. But over the next 6 years, I was working with a deity who I didn't know who it was, what it was, and started learning many more things. And by the time I was 12, I saw my first alien coming in my house with my friend with me. Lots of things just kept going deeper and deeper into places I never knew or wanted. By the time I was 14, I became a high priest. I was doing hypnosis, and I went into mass hypnosis. At 14, I studied with Kreskin when I was little, and a little bit that I got from that, I was out doing hypnotizing all my friends. I had everybody with a certain word that I could put them under in a second. Over about 1.5 years, they all begged me to take it off of them, the spell that they called it, that I had on them. So it was real. These people did things they didn't want to do, and I proved it in public to all the people around us all the time. Even my own brother said, this is all make-believe, this is all staged. So, truth is out there. It's in the eye of the beholder, whether you want to see it or not. You can see the truth right in front of you, and you're still not going to accept it. You can hear a story and make that your truth and put it and believe it. This is not about that. This is about where we're going this next week. Well, I'm going to go into all the topics we're not supposed to talk about. Mr. Rump, what is he doing? He is probably the most evil, powerful person on the planet right now. Do you understand that? Do you know that? There's a movie called The Vice Channel. Watch it. It'll give you a lot of details that you might not know. What's really going on? What can he do right now? Just look what he has done in the past 2 days, what he plans to do in the next month that he's still here. And who knows? He could actually declare war the last week and then play the game and be forced to stay there, and all kinds of things could happen. He's evil. He's ready to do whatever he has to keep his ego up on par. Now, is he rich? Does he have lots of money? I will say this. When he leaves the White House, I say within 6 months, his wife will leave him. All right? That's just what I'm saying right now. You heard it here right now. I don't believe she'd want to stay with him or is going to. So outside of that, his son is, well, I'm not going into all the things about him and what he did and all that, just that we are in trouble right now. This virus is created. Why? Who created it? Why was it given to China? Why is China preparing for war with a lot of people? Well, there's reasons behind every single thing. We are moving into agenda. Well, let's start in the beginning. UN Agenda 21. The agenda is about one world order. And all these countries agreed on it years ago. But why did they give it 21, a year of 21? Because that's when it starts, and it's supposed to end in 24, meaning we will be in full control over 2024. You want to believe that? That's or not. Pull it up online, learn what it is. You need to do research if you want the truth, and not listen to everybody. Take and pick what you hear and hear about what we're talking about. Because the truth's there somewhere, pieces of it. Even the story about Roswell, Area 51, and things like that. The truth's there, but it's mind-boggled, twisted, and all kinds of weird things to make it create a story that everybody's supposed to want to hear. All right? I don't put the government down. They got reasons to do what they do, and that is to protect the rich. Period. Not about you or me. It's building underground cities to protect the rich. Building underground cities to protect themselves. Building underground cities to be able to live after a radioactive warfare. All right? I'll throw this in. I'm not going to talk about aliens that much, but aliens were created, which the government has been doing, cloning grays for a reason. And why would you say, why would they want to clone grays? Because when the world is radioactive, they will not be able to work above ground. They will need slaves to do that. And I'm just telling you little bits of facts. You can search it out. You're not going to find much of truth because I was shown certain videos, private videos. The government has them all right now, just so you know. All the videos I saw, the government has, including Kennedy, President Kennedy getting shot from the front of the car. All right. So all these things, do you want to know about it? Do you have the bases on the other side of the moon? Why China is going to the other side of the moon? Do you want the truth? Did you see any pictures put up by China yet? Do you hear anything that they said about it? Now, when the United States said they lost the pictures of the moon because they didn't want people to see certain things on it, who had it? Japan. So don't worry, we got all the pictures. We'll give them back to you. So the stories that man has done is only creating this spiral of lies to take you further away from the truth. We're going to get right into it. What is Christmas? What does it really mean? All right, I was religious when I was young, until I was 14. I was baptized at 14, and I decided I no longer wanted to be a Christian. I went to my minister, asked some questions about God and heaven. Nobody can answer that. I said, I don't want a path that can't answer the questions you need to be answered. Don't believe that just because nobody has the answer, which everybody says, well, nobody has the answer. Yes, people do. Some people will never mention it or bring it up or talk about it because they know the world won't listen. And the simplest, most important story about that is the story of Jesus. He came as a child, a little child, not a being of light or anything outrageous. He was born in a family. He was born in a cave, not a stable. And he came out being in a Jewish family, and they were trying to program him. Luckily, he disappeared from the family and learned the truth. He came back a healer, medicine person, spiritualist, whatever word you want to use. He did not come back as a God. In his whole life, he never said he was God, ever. In the Bible, one sentence, it says he and I am the same, but he didn't mean God. He never said it. If he wanted to say he was God, he could have. When he was being tortured and everything else, say you're God. He wouldn't say it. He didn't say it because he knew he wasn't. So even that part of it started the lie rolling to get bigger and bigger. Was he spiritual? He was the most spiritual being, human being, walking this planet ever. Now, all the stories the UFO world is bringing into play, forcing upon people about the Anunnaki and every other story about that, how they made us, created us, rearranged us, and all these other things. No, we came to this planet as a human. There were 9 human races. 5 of them left right after a period of time when they became aware beings, which we all can be if we want to or choose to. Now, when that was happening in Atlantis, alien races didn't want that to happen. Now, who controls alien races? Nobody can talk about that, not even the aliens, because they don't have compassion, they don't have feelings, and they don't understand any aspect of a God. Now, God created many things, like everything, including Lucifer, Satan, and every other word that you want to hear. And just for you people that are so ignorant, sorry to say the word, Satan is not Lucifer. Lucifer is not Satan. Lucifer was one of the most highest angels that fell into the lower realms with all the other angels, Gabriel and Michael. So they're not all evil or evil, even slightly evil. Lucifer has a major role to play. Satan's role is much different. Satan's role is to keep all beings suppressed, deployed of awareness on planet Earth or in the lower solar system, galaxy, and universe. It gets its pleasure by keeping us here. I mean, Dante's Inferno says all these levels of hell. No, this is hell. It can't get any worse. Oh, well, what are they going to do? Do you know anything about soul? Probably not. Unless you had a death experience, out-of-body experience, and are totally aware of what it meant, what it was, and what was really happening, do you have a slight clue of what soul is? Can't be controlled by aliens, can't be controlled by the government. The body can, the mind can be weak because it's programmable without the awareness of soul within it. I can tell you things in my life that prove to me that nothing can happen to me, I can't be abducted, and I can't be reprogrammed. And I don't want to be. No matter how much the truth hurts people, I can only deal with the truth. I'm not going to deal with the lies. I was empathic for 2 years. And when I was for that time frame, I begged Spirit to take it away. Seeing and being able to read people's minds 100% was the most scariest thing ever. Oh, well, you just imagine. No, every single day that I felt or read somebody, by seeing who and what they were thinking, I confronted one person a day. If they were thinking about something stupid, I would say right to their face, why would you think about doing that? What do you mean? What? And they would freak out. And you know you hit them right where they were. All the time. Not once in a while, not 10%, 20%, 50%, 100%. I also was reading auras as well, which you can do very easily. And if you look at a person, just stare at them, stare into their eyes, or stare at them, because most people can't stare you in the eyes, and let your mind relax, and let everything relax, and you'll see their aura. The aura is what they are, who they are, and what they vibrate at. Nobody can change that. No matter what they say, think, or tell you, they can't change that aura. They can make it worse, because the more angry they get, the darker the red comes and the darker the gray comes. But they can't cover up smoking, drinking, and all those other words, because the aura shows it. Smoking and drinking makes it black and brown and holy. Not holy religious, holy with a bunch of holes in it. So there's a lot of things people should have learned and still didn't, don't care to learn, and they feel that their life's important. To who? Other people? You think people that don't know anything are beneficial by you saying, oh, I'm a spiritualist? Big deal. What's it mean to them? You're going to guide them to what? To become a 6-dimensional being? Does that have anything to do with God? I'm telling you it doesn't. The astral plane, all right, this is the physical plane, round 1. This is where soul starts its learning of awareness. After a period of time when it earns enough points, awareness was the right word, but it gives up its karma, don't start working out all its karma it already created, it can stay on the astral plane. But all souls, all souls that leave the body when they die and go to the next realm, it's called the astral plane. It's a plane where soul has to go to. Soul doesn't have to stay there. And soul usually gets reincarnated back here. If a soul has very little karma and worked it out, they can stay there. But they just don't move on to the higher worlds from there automatically. So when a person dies and they're attached to this, they have no awareness, they might become ghosts and spirits that stay here. They're lost souls. They don't have any awareness, so they can't go nowhere. They don't believe in a God, spirit, angels, demons, or anything. They just believe in nothingness that, oh, I was murdered, or I was beat up, or whatever. And they don't have any other thing to put their true awareness onto. So it's a lockdown, for them to stay on this planet. But the souls that go to the astral plane, they average between 5 and 10 years seeing that realm, and they will not remember it when they come back. So at least say 99.9% will not remember that. I can tell you the highest lamas, the highest people that claim that they are all this, but they don't remember that. So you can't remember something if you don't know that you need to remember it, and you don't go out of your way to remember it. So in this lifetime, we have a lot of things to do. Building houses, building cars, having 10 children is not the thing that you have to do. It's the thing that you choose and want to do. Have sex, have parties, have all those things. It has nothing to do with the astral plane, has nothing to do with God, and has nothing to do with realization and awareness. And in the UFO world, nobody in that has a clue to what that even means. And then you get people, and I'm going to say this, like Corey Goody, all right, claiming he's teaching ascension, has no clue. You get another person like David Wilcock talking about the rainbow body with Daniel Brinkley, two people that have no clue what the rainbow body is. To say that they can teach it is the most ridiculous thing that they can possibly imagine. And if they wanted to go to court, we're going to go anywhere, they'd have to go against the whole Tibetan religion to prove their truth of what they think they can do and say and are trying to do. When Native people have a teaching and a white man comes and takes it and tries to use it, they usually abuse it. Just as in The Secret, when that movie, the book and the movie came out, telling everybody about The Secret, the people involved with that, the head person did a sweat lodge. You know what a sweat lodge is? It's a place where Native people go in this hut and they burn, they have hot rocks coming in there that are super hot and heated up, and they do their prayers in there. Well, this guy decided to do a sweat lodge, and he brought all his people. He brought, I think, 15 people in his sweat lodge, and he was in a plastic tented room. The plastic started burning, producing toxic gas. They were all inhaling that. And in his perverted, twisted little mind, he thought they were going into this spiritual reality called dying. And he kept people in there. I think the number of people that died was 4. The number of people that had been rushed to the hospital was 10. I think a few people got away without either or. But the case lasted years because it wasn't like it was premeditated. He had no clue what he was doing, which he shouldn't have been doing. And people died. So, people can take something and use it. If they don't know how to use it, it is a weapon, which most people do with whatever they get. Nikola Tesla worked with an alien race. Sorry, people. I can tell you, I can go into a whole story about that, but I'm not going to do it right now. He worked with alien races who gave him 200 inventions. 50 that the United States took, which were the most dangerous weapons on the planet right now. Even quantum physics, which is destroying our reality. Time travel, which is making the planet become unreal to its own self. So if you think he was the greatest inventor, free energy. Free energy? Never mind free will. What's free will have to do with free energy? Nothing. Neither of them have anything to do with soul. Soul is free. Soul takes on its attachment and its bonds by taking on a human body and staying here. All right. So let's try to go a little bit further deeper into the rabbit hole. When you become aware and start becoming aware, what's it mean? You're looking for truth. You don't accept lies. You hear it and you can see beyond it. Well, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't fit in. Everything's a puzzle, or I would describe it for people that don't know what that would mean, the matrix. They're pulled into this matrix with the system, and this means that, and that means that. But what's that mean? What's that really mean? Well, there's truth behind everything. If you could see beyond the lies, look to the light. Well, that's not the truest secret as well. It's not. You could turn on a flashlight, go into a strobe light. I did that when I was a little kid. It could hypnotize you and take you places, but it's not going to take you to God. So the whole idea is we're moving in on a holiday, one of the most important holidays of the year, and very few people recognize it as anything other than being happy, giving gifts, and being around family, which is not a bad thing. But one day a year? What about the rest of the days of the year? 365 days is a long time. So what do you do the rest of the year? Pout, wait for your 1 week vacation that most people get when they work in a company. What do you wait for? A child being born, and then what? Well, the child's in trouble, the child's this, the child's that, and all the other things that come along with life. We feel that we're so important to each other, are we? When a person dies, if your child dies, they can't do anything for you. If you're a mother or father and you die, you can't do nothing for your children. The concept you're going to help the world, you can't help your family permanently. You can get a job and feed them, take care of them the best you can, and that can be taken away in any split second. The wife or the husband can just say, I don't like this relationship, and leave. So the concept of love has been abused, twisted, and taken away from society. Wow, man will say, love is the most important thing. For what? Killing people? Most wars, most fights have a relationship between love and religion. So, on this great week we're in right now, what are we looking for? Well, what am I going to get for Christmas to children? I was there. Everybody wants gifts. I mean, it's nice to get gifts, but it's nice to give them too. But outside of that, what is it about giving gifts? If you know the story about Jesus being born, which some people don't even know or care to know, he was a child, born. And when he was born, special people knew he was a special person. And they brought gifts to him. They followed the North Star to where the temple was, where the cave was, and they gave him these gifts. But as he started growing, he was in a Jewish family. He didn't see the truth behind who he was until he left his family. In those years that he was gone, nobody knew what he was doing, where he went. Well, he learned the power of ascension. Ascension only is happening for a few souls that existed on this planet. Not anybody that wants it or anybody thinks they can get it. No, you have to rise to the occasion. Because you're in kindergarten and you say, I'm going to be a college graduate. Doesn't mean you're ever going to become a college graduate. All right? But ascension is the highest thing a soul can attain in this reality. The highest, nothing lower. Ascending, everybody does. When you die, you step out of your body and you ascend into the astral plane. Those two words are so different. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I'm aware of all my past lives, back to Atlantis to the present. And I put my life on the line that it's not an imaginary make-believe story. And it all fits together with every single thing that's going on at every level. Who tried programming the human race to kill, sacrifice, murder, and abuse, and rape? Why? And it's not about gold. Gold's only such a small part of reality. Think about the giants and the cavemen and everything else. Were they playing with gold? No. And I'm going to throw this in because everybody says the Anunnaki created us as slaves to mine gold for them. Well, the United States can make gold right now. Seriously. It takes a lot more money to make a small piece of gold than it's actually worth. All right. But that technology was coming from technology that existed. Now, alien races that are thousands and thousands and multiple thousands of years older than us had that technology a long time ago. Meaning they have a better way to make gold then. Now, and then when you take in time travel, all right, if we could time travel, which we can, why wouldn't we just go back in time and bring gold back there? Go to the pyramid, take all the gold out of there, or the temples, and take all the gold out of there and bring it back in time. If you were doing time travel, if you wanted to say, well, why mine it? We could just take it. Go into the White, into the Mint, just take all that gold and bring it back in time. There's so many delusional stories because people are just so ignorant to put the truth together. The Anunnaki didn't come here to make us better in any way. And any alien race that has come here or is coming here is not going to make us spiritual. It's nothing to do with a God, nothing to do with what Jesus was teaching. Buddha's teachings was a starting point, understanding a consciousness. But trying to say we're all that one consciousness was not the truth. He attained a universal consciousness himself, but it wasn't our consciousness of who and what we are. Everybody has their perverted, twisted ideas, their ideas of good, bad, and different. Being one with that means you have no clue to anything. There is always a positive action, not always a negative. You don't have to take the negative reaction. You can move forward if you want to. Now, all these speakers telling you this, that, and the other thing, what are they telling you? When you go home, you leave a UFO conference, you leave a spiritual rally, and you go home. Oh, you feel energy and you feel uplifted. So you assume that's what it's all about. Energy is increased by more energy. So obviously you're going to feel good whether you went to a devil worship or anything. The energy is strong and it gives you more feeling than you had even if you're having sex or something else. So, but that energy wears off. And then what do you have left? Any awareness? When you go to a UFO conference, they tell you about all these abductions, which they kind of hide now, and they use a different word because you're not supposed to understand abduction. You're supposed to understand the word experiencer means having a good experience. Aliens came in my room, they took me on a ship, and they showed me all this stuff. What stuff did they show you? What did they tell you that's going to help mankind today? Nothing. We're in the most serious place in the world right now because of Mr. Trump and what he can do. And other countries are looking at that greatly. I mean, they're rioting because of the virus, but think about why it was created. It was created. Why? Why was AIDS created? Why? Do you have a clue? All right, now, I'm not going to go into the UFO story because that's out there 1,000 ways over, but Truman was the one that created MJ-12. MJ-12 is the one that has to block, support, build, create, change, cover up everything pertaining to aliens and UFOs. It overrides the president any given time. All right, you have to accept that or not. I was friends with one person in it. He is now dead. So I don't have any connections to it anymore. Laura Eisenhower's grandfather was Truman. Came right after Truman. He wasn't a part of MJ-12. So the real truth of that didn't get exposed to her mother or her in any great way. It was always secret. And when you're in that place in the government, you can't give it to your family because then you bring all the death threats and danger to all your family as well. I could do a story on that again. I talk from truth. I talk about from things that are happening, experiencing the energy in the room and the moment right now. I keep notes sometimes to keep me on a certain track of certain things. But like today, no notes, no nothing. Just follow through with what's happening and what's going to go down and why people are not listening. Or wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Take the injection, don't take the injection. It's all fake, it's all real. It's not real, it's real. Believe whatever you want. But even Jesus said, if the laws say this, you have to live by them. If they're unjust, you change them. You change them. If you can't change them, you were supposed to create a militia. Bush changed that law right after 9/11, saying if you form a militia, you become a terrorist group. Meaning you can't go against them. And if you know anything about electoral votes, it was created, people, to keep people locked into the idea that rich people control the world. No other reason. They never wanted to lose control. And that's why they always had the power over a state any given time. But you don't want to care. You don't care about that. Oh, we're just doing this, that. No. Trump's on the evil ban, destroying everything he possibly can right now, freeing people out of jail because he wants to pardon them. The 2 people he just pardoned went into a village and shot up women and children. All right. Oh, well, what was that? Justified? You know, Trump can do whatever he wants for the next couple of weeks. I truly hope it turns out to be the ending of a death age, moving into a better age. Not that Biden's the most perfect person on the planet. Nobody is. Or they wouldn't be sitting in hell. And you wouldn't be trying to control the world or the government or the state or the country. That's ego. Unity means working together, not working on top of each other. And we're not even closer to that at any level. All these spiritual groups, love and light's the answer, we're going to be beautiful and everything's going to be great in the next coming era. 10 years, 20 years, really? Now, Revelation talks about what's going to happen in the end times. We're there. All the signs, and watch the movie, The Seventh Sign, watch the signs of what means the end of reality. At that time, what happened when Noah came out? What happened when Sodom and Gomorrah happened? And Abe had to look back. I mean, what really happened? There's stories. Are they real or not, people? Do you care if they're real? No, they can't be. They're in the Bible. The Bible's a bunch of lies. Well, it is a bunch of lies. Everything you read is a bunch of lies. 90% of every carved tablet is a bunch of lies, and you want to believe them. Now, I keep telling people, if I carve a stone right now, put a bunch of things on it, throw it in the dirt, and somebody finds it next week, are they going to believe it's real? Why? Because it's written on stone? People's concept of truth is another program. What makes you believe in truth? The only way you should believe in truth is by knowing it's true. How do you know something's true? Without experience, you can't say it's true. If you never saw an alien, you can't say they're real. If you never left your body, you can't say death and reincarnation or out-of-body experiences are real. If you never experienced a spiritual being, you can't say they're real. You can dream. Dream it with an angel, dream it with God, dream it with dragons, dream whatever you want. Proving it to yourself is the most important part of that to begin with. If you get a truth and it's beneficial to the world, that's when you're supposed to bring it out to the world. Not hide from it. If you have a psychic ability, which nobody has, I can do this. If you can levitate a piece of paper, you can levitate a car. If you can levitate a car, you can levitate a mountain. But that's all delusional because we don't have people with that ability right now. It was real in Atlantis, but it's not real right now. People that do healing works are evil, deceitful people. I'm a beautiful, loving person. Do you know what karma is? Karma means a soul that creates energy that it has to work out before it could raise its vibration. Nobody can take it away. When these people, like Nasir Harriman, says he has the Ark of the Covenant and he's going to change the vibration of the planet by linking that up to what the United States government has, their Ark of the Covenant, and change the vibration of the planet. But he needs millions of dollars, and he was coming around the world grubbing money for it. Really? All right, people come up with the most bizarre stories and think they have the right to change reality. Killing is against all spiritual laws because it changes reality. If I killed Trump, Pence, I call him Punce, and everybody else right now, reality would change because the government system would be so screwed up. If I took out all Congress, the world would be so incredibly in a serious condition. Now, watch Vice Channel because, again, they show you what happens in the time of a major war or scenario of one. Who's elected as the people that are going to run the world. And the person that's considered the president walks around with a bag. And check what's in his bag really. Does he have a little button to push to blow up the world? Does he have a button to push to blow up a country? Check it out. Check out what's really in that bag. He has the power to do whatever he wants to. And that's where Mr. Trumpo is right now. And if you're not listening, not aware, he destroyed the environment. He destroyed everything. Wants to go to coal. Wants to let fracking destroy the planet. Wants to destroy the global warming idea that it's not really happening. Look at the world. Watch the world the next year. We're going to be going through the worst weather ever in history. Hawaii just blew up again. The volcano is shooting out lava as of 2 days ago. The moon, the Venus, and Jupiter were in alignment. The energy field was intensified. All these little things mean things. Not that they could have changed that. They couldn't. But I'll tell you, 10 years ago, they hit the sun with 3 blue bombs to see what would happen. And that was the week we had all those super major solar flares. So, things are going on, but they don't want to tell you why. Anything about CERN, 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 put a dot between each one of them, what they're really doing, what they really want to do, it creates the most strongest magnetic field in our universe. It's stronger than the planet itself when it's turned on. It's super radioactive as well while it's running. And they want to crash 2 atoms to make a black hole to go through. So, science is not beneficial to the human race. Balance and harmony and peace is so much beautiful, more creative, and beneficial to the average person. Meaning, we didn't need cars and spaceships. We needed horses to get around. Much easier to travel and safer. Sure, people did fall off their horses and die, got stumbled by but not as many as car accidents on a daily basis. All you had to do was feed it. You didn't have to pull up gas out of the ground to feed it, like a car. And car means karma. Usually you pay your debts by damage to your car and things that happen to your car because you're not looking, you're not realizing what's going on, so you got to pay somehow. You think you can keep creating karma and just live life forever that way? You can. But when you die, you have this giant burden of, I got all this karma, what's going to happen now? All right. I'm going to bring it back to Christmas, people. What is Christmas? Nobody knows the exact day Jesus was born. All right. Now, and I'm going to tell you this. You could spit on it whatever you want to do. It's your choice. I was alive when Jesus was alive. I was a female in that lifetime. Mary Magdalene was my closest friend. And I was rich. I was a goddess in the temple. And it's not because I want to be famous and all that. No. But I spent the rest of my period of time that Jesus was alive with Mary Magdalene. And the name was Mary. And the other word is Maria. I mean, you got mother of Jesus, who never had any superpowers. And she gave birth to God. All right. She followed Mary Magdalene around like a puppet. I mean, a dog on a collar. She didn't do anything. Never again. So the Christian church, they gave her all the power of being a spiritual woman and whatever. She gave birth to God. God doesn't need a human to be born because it was never born. It doesn't have to be reborn. Jesus' teachings are so far from the Bible, so different than what man has perceived and twisted and molded it into, is incredible. Now, take this for instance. God, what is God? How does God fit into the picture in the old days? How could Jesus tell the human race? Oh, cool. Thank you, Sasha. You can come on if you want. I'll send you the link. Sorry. If you want it, just let me know. All right. Let me just tell this person. All right. So if you want to come on, I'll give him the link. But here's the thing. We're at a place right now where everything we do is critical to the planet and to other life. And when we talk about Jesus as being God, did it help anybody in those days? No, because here's the thing. I'm going to talk to a bunch of fishermen down by the ocean. If I went down to the cliffs down here in Hawaii with all the people fishing down there and said, well, you want to know what God really is? How many of them would listen to me? How many of them would accept anything I said about God? Oh, he's your savior. He's going to protect you. He's going to do all these things. Really? Is he going to give me money? First thing people would ask, right? But no, when Jesus was dealing with these people, they were simple-minded people. Simple-minded people. They weren't even going to schools or very little. Didn't know how to read or write. Only 2 people that were with Jesus knew even how to write, so all the stories weren't written by his disciples. But here's the thing. When these people started walking around Jesus, the only thing they knew, he carried light. Light. Not explaining how or what it was to them, but they felt it. And they wanted to be near it. children would come running out and run towards him just because they could feel that. It had nothing about being anything other than who he was. He carried the light that didn't make him God. He never, ever said he was. Now, when he started teaching, when he preached to the people on the mountain, they were simple-minded people. Again, he couldn't tell them about the workings of a real God. People today don't want to know what that really means. All they can accept is an idea that God loves us and he'll help us and take us and protect us. From what? You're in hell. Until you get out of hell, how can he protect you? You want the stuff you're going through. You're happy with it. You're happy with drugs, drinking, smoking, watching football games, watching boxing, all the things that have nothing to do with spirituality. Sex dummies, sex puppets, whatever. What do you think? Is that spiritual in any way? So you're going to listen to me tell you what God really wants and is all about? Of course not. Especially if it's not going to protect you. Well, when your son's dying of the virus and begging God to save him or her, what do you think happens? Oh, they're instantly saved. Well, how many people get saved out of 1,000 that already have it, that are dying? How many people come back from the dead? Seriously. Saving is not real. God doesn't have to save us. We have to save ourselves. But that's what he spoke about. But people rather take the idea because he healed people, or they saw people getting healed, how to make him a God. Anybody with superpowers, any point in time, were considered a God. Not the word God, but a God or gods because of their power. If they could fly, they were gods. If they can shoot fire, they were gods. If they can raise mountains, they were gods. Not saying that was anything spiritual. The words spiritual and God fit together greatly if you know what God is. But if you don't know what God is, it's not spiritual. Because the idea of mankind's spirituality is becoming aware of each other, working together, and helping each other. And that's not what soul is about. Every single soul has its own mission, and not the mission we give it on planet Earth. You got a mission in hell to pretend you're healing the planet. Really? You think any government, anybody in power is doing that? Has any man in the past 30, 50,000 years created anything spiritual? Oh, well, we pray. Praying to God to tell him to do, telling it to do what you want it to do? Is that an idea? Is that like an awareness of what? Ignorance? You know, people, it's time that you really go inside yourself, because the world could be destroyed in a day, a week, a month, a year, 10 years, 20 years, or even 100 years. But are you ready to leave? Where do you think you're going to go? And what do you think you're going to do when you do leave? If you think you're going to be anything after you die. All those answers aren't provable to yourself yet even, are they? You want to listen to these people that are programmed by the government or programmed by aliens. You got a choice. They both won't tell you the truth. They won't tell you why aliens are here. No alien race is here to help us become more spiritual. Not one. They don't know what the word means, so how can they teach it to you? Well, how to build a spaceship, how to create new energy. What does it have to do with spiritualism? Again, I tell people to go inside themselves, try to relate to what spiritual means to them, and they're going to come up with nothing. And a simple program right here, well, we're here to help each other. To do what? Create more people, make more sicknesses, and kill more people. Make more bombs, blow up more people, blow up more towns, cities, countries. Where are you going with any of this? Look at every alien story that existed. And I want to start you with the most important UFO story in history. Not the birth of Jesus or anything like that, because that's all twisted, molded stuff by alien races. The Venturian race, which is from Venus, have no clue to who Jesus really was. Not one person on that whole planet. And that's scary. Now, if you ask the Andromedan or Sumerian races, or there's so many races out there, the Arcturians, I mean, all these different races, ask them what God is. You think you're going to get an answer? Or even a real answer? Who made them? Guess what? They didn't come by a meteorite crashing into another planet and it created these aliens, like the way they said they created the humans. All the stories you hear about humans are so twisted lies that no proof exists to even prove it. And then they'll create a synthetic proof to make you believe it's real. Now, I deal with people every day. I got one woman, I battle with her every morning. She believes the Anunnaki story. Inky and all those people created mankind, and they did this. They came down here to save mankind. Save us from what? The garbage they fed us and programmed us to become? Massive killers, animal killers, and rapists and abusers and sacrificers? Do you believe that's real? It's real, but it's not nothing to do with spirituality or God. So to think an alien race is important. I'm going to bring you up to par. Now, this story is twisted. A couple people wrote books on it. I was friends with the only real person that I know that has truly gone back in time. And he was involved with the Philadelphia experiment. One of the only people that came back alive. And I met with him years after years until he died and said he was going to die. They said he can't die before this date, and he died a month after. But again, his story is so real that even when he said that the anniversary of the cycle, when it went back and forth in time, affected. To this day, if you check the facts, one day from Canada down to Florida had a blackout. No reason, no story, no explanation was ever given, ever, because they couldn't say the truth behind it. Now, something you need to know, which has to do with spiritual truth and wisdom and everything else, is what happened when the Philadelphia experiment happened. I don't know if you know what the word vortex means. It's where energy goes in and out of the planet. I was shown that when I was young. I had a death experience, and I was shown how light comes out of God, goes down through all these realms, and then it comes back up into God. And each one of those places where it hits is like a reality. And I call them realms or worlds, all the way down to the physical world, which is hell. All right, not like you go into hell. The earth would be the center of everything, would be nothing. Hell is a place where you live right now. Simple explanation. This is the only place you, as a person, with a soul living inside this body, can see demonism, hatred, sacrifice, and all those gore. It's the only place you can feel it through every nerve and muscle and sense in your body as well. You can smell it. You can taste it. Hate, anger, fear, suffering. All those words exist here. So, and anybody goes, well, heaven here and now. No, that's not going to happen in hell until the world is completely stripped of all negative energy and purified again, which it was in Atlantis. The only time. And it lasted a short period of time. And people try to say, well, the Sumerians were first, and each person wants to put a race stronger than the other first, and this, that. Well, the giants. Oh, I'll give you the, sorry about the link. I'm going to put it up right now. Hold on, let me get it for you. I'm going to stick it on a clipboard. Tell me if you see it there, but I'm going to send you the link on Skype as well. All right, you should have the link as well. So, all right. Sorry about that. You know, I have a few listeners, followers that are loyal and respectful and all those kind of words. I don't want a multiple following, because the more people you have, the less it's going to be closer to the truth. Jesus said the most spiritual religion will have the least followers. And that's the truth. Because people, when they hear something, the more people hear something, the more they accept it. And the more people... Let me bring our guest on. Can you hear me?
How you doing, Tommy?
Greetings. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Yourself?
All right. I didn't know I had a diet below the volume. It's always a pleasure. Questions, anything, anytime, all right?
Okay, understood.
So getting back to this point, in the here and now, what we are, where we're living, all right? Hell is not the most beautiful place, as you can see. Little children suffering, all right? Why would you want to see that if you're in a spiritual place? Disease to children, children born without no arms, no legs, and all these other things, and what adults do to children, You call that heaven? And they're worried about a bomb, and they're worried about purification of the planet and all that stuff. We can't purify our minds. Men in general are really, really sick. Women are becoming sicker the longer they adapt trying to be like a man. And I say it every show just about men are from Mars and women are from Venus. I didn't read the books, but the definition, the way it sounds, is so 100% right on. Women are so different than men. Now, getting back to the story of Jesus being born. He was a child. He was being brought up in a Jewish environment. Now, the Jewish people, because of Mr. Moses, had 613 laws after the Ten Commandments. He was pathetic. He was one of the highest black magicians to live on this planet. And he also created a bunch of twisted laws for people to live by. Not that they say they can, but they can't. They can't live by the Ten Commandments. Nobody can. So they say you're going to... What was that, Sarah?
In any of the time that you remember being with Jesus, do you remember him warning people about Moses?
Well, he never did. But in the Bible, it says, Jesus said, Moses was right on. He says, you have to believe what he said. And when Moses said, if you lie, you cut your tongue out. If you see bad things, poke your eyes out. If you steal, cut your hand. Well, Jesus was never about that.
Now, I'm assuming that version was what the humans made up.
Of course it was.
Of course. Okay.
Now, Jesus spoke about aliens. He spoke about a lot of things. But what he said is the only thing that's important is learning how to connect and travel to get closer to God. And even when he said in my Father's mansion there's many rooms, he didn't mean in his father, like the father of Jesus, who really had simulated Mary.
But I'm sure he had to dumb it down for the people of back then.
Well, see, the Jewish religion kept that. All right. Which it broke down to Protestants, Catholics, and everything else. But when that happened, Jesus didn't come to create a religion. He never said, I'm here to create a religion. I'm here to show you a way. Show you a way. Not a religion. A religion's not a way. A religion is just a belief system.
Yeah.
A way is a way of action.
It's crazy how brainwashed the people are, because when I try to distinguish the truth from people who still believe in a man-made religion, they automatically attack me and think I'm an atheist, which is that's not true at all.
I said the closer you are to the truth, the closer you are to becoming more aware, the more people will reject you. The truth hurts. And because they're not even close to that idea, you're the one that's dumb, evil, programmed, sick, and diseased, and every other word they want.
Mm-hmm.
But when it matters is what you do when you go home, you close your eyes, and you go into a simple meditation. Where are you really? Are you in hell dealing with idiots? Or are you trying to get your way back closer to God? I'm not saying you're going to touch God tomorrow, but all the worlds that lead beyond or exist beyond this realm are better than here.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is the astral plane, where everybody goes, is not much further than here, except you override a few things like death. You can't kill a person. You eat when you want, and all those kind of things. So it makes it better for the average person. Sure, if your parents are still there, which they only stay there a short period of time, you might get to say hi to them. I mean, I'm not into that. I was there. I watched souls coming and going back and forth to here. I wasn't concerned about, oh, look, he met his mother. He's saying hi. But you think you're going to just sit there and talk to your mother for the rest of your infinity? Mm. Soul has a forward movement. If it gives that up, it gives its own awareness up for growth. It's like climbing a ladder. You're trying to get to the top of the roof, and you stay in the middle of the ladder. You're not going to get to the top of the roof. If you climb back down, you'll never get to the top of the roof. So
From what I remember you said in the book, if a soul is not able to be fixed over a long period of time, God makes it into energy, but it won't have a consciousness.
Well, what I'm talking about is evil soul. Mm-hmm. It's given reincarnation over and over. When a soul becomes no longer adaptable to be able to be changed, and Christians will not talk about, nobody will. soul, this God decides that it's time to eliminate that from the cycle of life and birth,
Right.
and being around other souls. So it just turns it into energy. So, and it lets it live as energy, so it's not aware and it can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's very, very few souls. I'm not saying like even the mass murderers come back here, which is because this is as far as it gets. But I can't even describe who was that. Lucifer wasn't that person. Satan could be that person, but Satan had more of a mission that God felt would be beneficial to stay here and be active among the people that are ignorant, and guide them into nothing, into nowhere, to be what we are today. We're more concerned about what we're going to eat on Christmas Day than God, or what really happened to Jesus, why they killed him. Why would people want to kill a loving being? Tell me.
Now,
Tell me.
am I correct to assume, because a lot of people have the impression that the time period of December is when it was. I thought it was like during the summertime.
Well, the time frame was never exact, and they can't think, but it was the beginning of our calendar, day one. All right.
Okay.
And that's considered the birth of Jesus.
Okay.
So, but basically, when Jesus was born, the exact date, I mean, I think they have a rough idea between maybe 100 days or somewhere around there. Could have been summer, could have been winter. But being in a cave and everything, I would assume it was not a most beautiful day when the wise men traveled to get there. They were following the North Star, so the sky couldn't have been cloudy and snowy and rainy. I mean, there's a couple of simple facts that would make it what kind of season it was for them to follow it, because they were walking. So to walk to wherever he was from wherever they were must have took a long time. And if there was storms, blizzards, and all that, I don't think they would have ever got there. So again, it's time frames based on what actually supposedly happened. But again, I didn't see Jesus being born, but I did meet with him, and I listened to him talking to Mary Magdalene all the time. He taught Mary Magdalene all his abilities. He didn't say, I'm making you God. He says, I'm going to teach you the teachings. And he taught her, because she was responsible, people, and it's in the Bible. I didn't make it up. She had to finish teaching Peter and the rest of the disciples what he was trying to teach them, which they didn't understand. If she wasn't there, Mary, the mother of Jesus, wouldn't have been able to do anything. And all the disciples would have went on their own way, because they already started to. And it was Mary that said, no, you can't leave the path. And then they were trying to say, well, how can you? And she started teaching them again. And then she says, to prove it, here's what's going to happen. And then she actually taught them how to meet with Jesus again. And that's how it all went down. It wasn't about creating a religion. It was about showing there's a truth, and the truth, how to get back to God or get closer to it. We don't become God, but the closer you get to it, the greater everything becomes. Everything. You can't compare anything in the physical world with anything in the astral plane. But take the two of them together, can't compare to what's in the third realm. Then you're beyond hate, anger, and all those words disappear. And then you're living at a spiritual point in reality. And then you move on from there to the highest place soul itself can go, which is called the soul plane, where it dwells as a ball of light and it creates and does what it needs to do or wants to do. But it's under the guidance and awareness that it's always underneath God. Never can a soul say they are God, which is what happened with Satan. And God said, okay, you're going to be God, but God of hell. And he allowed it to.
That's what probably happens to them. They confront, and then when they do, they get tossed back down, huh?
Well, people that go in front of God and say, I'm God, you're useless, get karma, incredible karma. They usually don't get destroyed or turned into energy or anything like that. They're back down here, starting all over. Remember, when you start in reincarnation and you start over, you're starting over. No awareness of anything, of all the things you went through, of all the knowledge and wisdom and everything you learned over lifetime after lifetime is gone. So now you're learning a language, you're learning a belief system, and you're learning a false truth. It's nothing beneficial, it's nothing good, and it's nothing that you should even concern or consider to try to get into or work about. It's a horrible place.
Are there situations where a soul has a voluntary option to come here?
Well, I'll tell you this. After it attains awareness and goes to the astral plane, it has the right to come back if it wants to. But remember, what's pulling you back is usually ego and attachment.
Okay.
And that alone will keep you here forever. The highest Buddha himself said, I'm going to reincarnate till the last soul leaves here. Until the last soul leaves. You know what that means? He'll never leave. He'll never be able to leave because he'll never be the last soul here. There's billions of souls here. I mean, it's 7.8 billion people here right now. And imagine if 1,000 of them decided they love hell so much they don't ever want to leave, Buddha's going to stay here and work with them? See, you know, when you're aware and you're aware of your abilities, you should realize you can do 10,000 times more than you can do right now with your unawareness.
Okay.
So when you become aware and of creation, in the soul plane, you can create many things and do many things. And then when you rise beyond that, you got to let go of the soul, which I don't even want to get into. That's just so far different. But when you are in a place where everything is pure light, pure compassion and love at a level we don't understand here, it's different. So coming down into the astral plane, you're still attached to people. So it's time. It might not ever be time. Mankind might not ever learn.
Gizmo.
Be the mailman, but I didn't hear a beat the horn. Gizmo!
I'm grabbing my paperwork. From what I wrote down, I think the one that comes after the soul plane is the invisible reality.
Well, the next realm after the soul plane is the world of invisibility. Nothing exists there until you focus on something.
Right.
And then whatever that you focus on becomes reality there.
From what I recorded there, it says you're also responsible for what you create there as well.
Remember, awareness comes from... what do you think awareness... I'm going to ask you the question. What does awareness mean to you?
Being conscious and aware of your surroundings, of your environment, of the objects around you.
No.
Where you are.
Take it a little bit further.
Awareness.
What would be the highest thing you could be aware of?
God.
Right. So you're aware of God. You're aware that you're under God. And you're aware that you're working for God.
Okay.
So that means you have total responsibility. See, freedom means total responsibility to people that are ignorant. Freedom doesn't mean free to do whatever you want, no matter what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're going against all spiritual laws. So freedom are what people perceive in this reality. Well, I can do whatever I want. You can,
Right.
but you pay karma. Everything you do has karma, good or bad, especially in the physical plane. On a soul plane, you're aware of what you can do and you can't do. You don't do things that will destroy a universe. That's why the angels were cast out, because they started fighting with each other. And they weren't allowed to, and they knew that. So again, when you know the truth, karma is so much harder.
Mm.
If you know you can't do something and you do it, you create 10 times more karma than not creating karma because you didn't know you weren't supposed to do it.
Like putting your hand in the cookie jar.
Or in the fire. What's that red stuff? And you're trying to grab the fire. I mean, you learn, but it's not a permanent thing. Karma is pretty solid when you create bad karma.
Right.
I mean, if you take a body and put him in the fire and say, I'm going to roast him to the bone.
Now, I take it karma is what God created, like a justice, as a system for all souls.
Okay, you're right. I mean, that's the kind of the way you want to perceive it. It's that way because when God created the human body, it's perfect. Oh, well, nobody's perfect. Well, the body was, and it could be. But mankind has decided to destroy it at every level.
Mm-hmm.
Put every kind of toxic, every other thing into it, reprogram its own consciousness, reprogramming its thinking. And the immune system was the perfect system in the body. So, I mean, I don't want to go into science of the body and stuff, which not science doesn't talk about much, but the lymphocytes in our body have the ability to destroy every defective cell within it. But there's only a set number. I would just say for a number, 1 million lymphocytes running around in your body, killing cells that are bad and all that stuff. But sadly, we're at a place where we bring 2 to 10 million things into our body daily. So you got this small army fighting all these big armies every day. Guess what? It breaks down. And then when you take a shot like the vaccine, it's weakening the whole human body system because it's poisons, and they got to fight, trying to fight that off. And then you bring something else into it, the new injection. I mean, all these things are going against our own system. So we had a perfect body, and it worked perfectly, and it could live longer and everything else. But since we do not have the proper programming, I should say we have a program, rather than being aware, we lost the reality of how we should be living and what we should be doing. Spending money. Money is not the route to the positive side of the world, ever. It never will be. Yeah. The idea that everything we created, every sport, has nothing to do with anything important. And all it does is take money away from people.
Is bartering like they used to do back in the day? Is that okay?
Bartering is the word?
Yes.
You mean like trade this for that?
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the way we lived. And that in Atlantis, we didn't barter. We just worked together.
Okay.
I mean, oh, he needs a tomato. Here's a tomato. Oh, I need. Oh, here's that. Oh, I'll pull it out of the ground. I'll raise.
See, I was thinking of one level back, but okay, I see where you're at. Okay.
All right. So Atlantis was so different. I mean, we loved each other. We had compassion for each other. We talked very seldom. We didn't have to have conversations. We knew what each other was thinking and working with and all that. And you could be, oh man, I wish I had, and somebody would hand it to you. It was so incredible. You can't compare that to anything today. You couldn't even imagine that people care about every action that you do as well, in a good way. Well, he's an asshole. Oh no, he's got a problem, and here I'm going to solve it, and all those kind of things. Your light's weak. I'm going to give you more light to build your body immune system. Simple things, which wasn't like, oh, I'm a healer. I'm going to heal you. Puff, you're all healed. I mean, it wasn't like that. It was beautiful.
So, yeah, they didn't do things at a profit, obviously.
Money did not exist.
Right.
Killing animals and eating animals did not exist.
So I suppose the kind of reality that humans have created right now is karma in and itself, because we have to use monetary systems and bartering.
Well, we create a system that pulls us further and further away from truth.
Right. Yeah,
toys.
Exactly.
Man creates toys. Everything he spends money on is a toy. A weapon, a machine, a car, a spaceship, or a computer. I mean, it has nothing to do with spirituality. Nothing to help mankind purify the ground, purify the ocean, purify thoughts and things like that. I mean, it's all about entertaining the consciousness, the programmed consciousness of thinking that it's important and thinking it's one with God. All right. Now, that's the saddest thing. I mean, it came out, I don't know how many years ago, the idea that we're one consciousness, or we're one with the universe, or we're one with God. One with God, what would that really mean? What do you do in a day's time that you can consider yourself related to a God? Mm-hmm. Never mind the highest God there is. And what action did you do? Pick somebody because they fell over? I mean, gave a guy a candy? What would be this imaginary super thing that you did to prove that you're close to God? God's dealing with trillions of universes and galaxies and creatures and animals and every other thing under the sun, and humans of all kinds and aliens of all kinds. And you're going to say you're aware of any of that? We're not even aware of an alien race, really. Most people aren't. I mean, dealing with Tina, I learned so much more about abduction and everything else, which people have no clue, and they don't want to. Travis Walton did the movie Fire in the Sky. He has no clue what happened on that ship, really. He's rewriting his program every year, making it sound this and making it sound that. He wants to do the movie over and everything. The truth is, We block the truth because we don't want to hear it. And if it takes us away from what we're programmed to think we like sex and marriage and family, we don't want it. I don't want to know I'm not here. When Jesus told his disciples to leave their families, do people in the Bible understand that at any level, what that meant? Because, you can't bring anybody else with you to heaven or into the next realm or to the higher realms. You can't. It's
I
like
wonder.
Go ahead.
I wonder if the people back in the day heard Jesus say that kind of stuff. They probably took that as a threat.
Well, if you listen to what Jesus supposedly said to the people on the mountain, I mean, it's simple stuff. It's simple how to live life. It wasn't complicated. It wasn't
Right.
about leaving the body, traveling in the worlds, getting higher, closer to God, and all that. No, I mean, even the death when they said you'll be on the right side of Jesus, to the murderer, the thief on the one side of him, and different things. All right, but here's his own people. When they had the right to free Jesus, they didn't. His own people didn't.
Yeah.
So, I don't see. I mean, I was there. You look into Jesus's eyes. I don't think you could ever be the same.
Yeah.
But when you look into these people's eyes, and they looked into Jesus's eyes, how could they not be different? For the idea for them to say, killed, we don't want Jesus, we want Barabbas, or whatever. I mean, it's a story, but it's a really pathetic way of humans showing their pathetic attachment to things. I mean, well, I knew him. He's my friend. I don't know this guy. He's just a walk again magician, whatever. I mean, however they perceived it in their own twisted little minds. If you touch Jesus, if he just went in the energy around him, he didn't say he was God, but he did carry the light, and you could feel it, and you could. And they don't talk about that much in the Bible, because I mean, people that write stories about the Bible, and one book was, I don't know, about Jesus, and they said the children never went to Jesus. That's bull story. Where do you ever come up with that idea?
Do you?
Children, wait. Children are closest to the light than any other people on this planet. The older you get, the less connection you have to it. Go ahead, Sas.
Do you remember Jesus's secret teachings?
Of course.
Is that
something? No, they're called secret because nobody knows what they mean.
Well, I want to.
Well, I give them to you simply. They're simple. They're not complicated. Oh, well, you're not going to attain this awareness until... No. If you're ready to move forward and understand God, the secret's there. Even in the Emerald Tablets, he teaches the same thing, thought, when he's teaching. The teachings are there, and you got to find them. But don't think that you can't get to them and that you have to be a certain thing to attain that. You have to be aware, meaning you respect God. Simple. You don't respect God. Why would God want you to know anything or give you any gifts? Christmas is here. God's going to give everybody gifts? Of course not. Yeah. The people that just got out of jail because they killed a city of women and children, they should be given Christmas gifts? Really? And they're getting freedom. The best gift they could probably get right now in their own mind, even though they deserve karma 10 times worse than what they had. But to kill a child, to kill a family, do you know how much karma that vibrates with in lifetime after lifetime? Yeah. People don't have a clue. People don't want to hear that. Christians want to say, well, in the name of Jesus, I ask for forgiveness and it's over. No. John, in Revelations, writes in parts of Revelation, what sins can't be forgiven. And you don't even want to read it because it's everything you do, except murder. Most people don't kill people. But all the other things people do. And it said they're the sins you can't be forgiven for. So when people in the Catholic religion used to go to well, they still do, but they go for penance and go on a Friday confession. I want forgiveness. I did this. And this man behind a little steel screen says, you're forgiven, but say 100 Hail Marys. And that makes you forgiven. Praying is not the answer to salvation. Awareness is. Praying to an unknown God, all right, about things you want is not prayer. That's like saying you think you're God and you're going to tell God what to do. Plain and simple. God knows what it's doing. Whether we believe that or not, whether we want to follow through, God foresees what we're going to do. But it gives us a chance over and over to change that. Reincarnation is not just about having another life. It's about moving forward as a spiritual being, not an ignorant soul, ignorant of its abilities and attached to this physical world.
Yeah.
If you like ice cream and say, I'm going to stay here because I can eat ice cream all the time, stay here, eat ice cream. But you never get to see the beautiful worlds that God created. So secret teachings are showing you those realms when you get to each level. And it allows you to see the next one.
Okay.
Once you attain the third level, you're already given an ability to go to the higher worlds when you move forward if you're ready to vibrate at a higher vibration. All right. And that vibration can't come to this planet, people. It would explode.
Yeah, Earth would go kaboom.
And put them all on this planet, the Earth would shatter. And I'm not talking about Anunnaki's people and all those stupid, ignorant stories. No matter how close they are to the truth, they're all lies. Because they're unaware of God, and without God, there's nothing. There is nothing, people. Jesus was the bringer of that wisdom, and nobody could hear it. Nobody. All the Gospels, all the stories written in the Bible, don't talk about that.
Well, you were there, and it's nice to have you back.
Well, I appreciate that. Most people say, well, you're just delusional. No, they want to work with aliens. Fine and dandy. See where you're going to go when you die and when you're working with the Anunnaki. See how far it gets you. See any of this. See why aliens are reincarnating back into the human body. Why would they do that? Why aren't they moving into the 7th, 8th, 10th, 12th vibration, or even the 6th vibration, instead of coming back here? You can't be at that vibration and stay here. See, people don't understand the words. They like the words and like the way people put it in sentences. All these names, I wish I had a list of them all. I'd read every single person's name out there, delusional. But go into the UFO world, type UFO speakers, and you'll see every single one of them. Delusional people telling you delusional lies about good and bad aliens and how they're going to save mankind. Well, guess what? We've been here for such a long time, and we didn't learn one thing. And that's scary.
One thing I wanted to ask, because I run into this a lot with people, when I try to teach them or open their eyes to the idea that the soul is different than the mind, they can't seem to grasp, around that idea, and they think that mind is everything.
Well, see, now, and my partner's not here. I can speak any way I want. Buddhist Lama, so it's hard to say anything about that. Buddha was teaching about consciousness, that we're all a part of this consciousness. Well, it's a pretty pathetic consciousness. The only thing he added to it, which is actually the first step, and that's the bliss state. All right, but it's a void state. Blocking out all things is just that. You're nothingness in a vibration. All right. Your awareness of that, you're just vibrating. You're not changing it. You're not doing anything with it. You're just aware of that. And that's what Buddha taught. So obviously when he started bringing that religion to the world started accepting that as the highest level. Jesus isn't here anymore, so he can't bring it out. I'm just a person, and people don't want to listen to just a person. The more famous you are, the more they'll listen to you. They'll listen to a person that was a murderer in jail and just got out, and they'll listen to him like the fight that just went down between two boxers. Wow, he's out of jail and they're paying him big bucks to fight and beat up people again. How great is that? So mankind's level of any kind of truth is so limited, it's sickening. So getting back to the point you're bringing out, okay, we have the ability to move forward any point of time in our life. Not that you're going to attain everything you think you want to or think you can, but as long as you focus on that, it can only help you. It will not hurt you in any way. It'll make everything that happens in your future better.
Yeah.
You can die tomorrow, but it's still better because now you're in the next life and you will be unaware of something.
And that's what I try to focus on every day. I see the reality all around me, but then I keep on reminding myself, you know what, there's this is just a distraction.
There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And there always is. The further you go down the tunnel, the light's always there. Someday you'll go through it. And that's when you'll have full awareness. All right. But as long as you're focused on that and keep, I can tell you a story. A Hopi medicine man that I studied with said, you go into the light and they got you. It's his level of awareness. And most people have their level of awareness. I'm not saying mine is greater than everybody. To me, it is, because it's my awareness and I know where I'm going. And I know the things that got me here, where it's going to bring me, and how I'm going to get there. How many people can talk about God, which they can't? I haven't met one person, and I'm still begging for somebody to debate me on God, and another person to debate me on death. I talked to one of the most topic psychics, claims he's the top mystic on the planet, waiting for him to, he said, well, we'll talk together. It never happened yet. And he said he's attached to the silver cord, meaning he can't be the greatest psychic on the planet. So, people put themselves in hell, or people put themselves in the path of a lie, even though they don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You can't say you're the greatest if you're attached to a silver cord. You can't go past the astral plane. And the astral plane is not much better than here. So you're not learning or being able to, I can use psychic abilities. They exist on the astral plane. You don't need them.
At least in the astral, you can eat all the cheesecake and pizza you want.
Well, that's true if that's your desire.
No,
you don't even have to age, and you don't even have to put on weight. So that should be a fantasy for happy people. I go to the astral plane, eat all I want, and I won't be this big. Because you pick an age.
At least it's a goal for them to get there first, It
would be a goal. I should promote things like that. I say, are you overweight? Here's the secret. Think about going to the astral plane and being the perfect shape, perfect age, and eating all you want without getting heavy. It's a spiritual step from where you are right now. I wonder if you could touch people. I probably could. I'm not going to go there, but I'm sure there's a way that would work among those kind of people. Do I promote death? Of course I do. Why? Because when you let go of this body, you're becoming much more freer and more closer to who and what you really are. But if you're an abuser and all those other words, you're not going to get there. Mm-hmm. So, Sasha, I know you're a good person. I know there's people out there that are good people trying, and they seem that they don't get everything they want. Well, I didn't ask for what I got. It was given to me. It was given to me at 6 years old. It happens to souls when they're truly worthy of what they're going to get. It could happen in a dream tomorrow, Sasha, and it will suddenly change reality for you.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you're open and looking for it. And you leave the door there so that it can open when it's ready. Like I said, don't ever push on that door because it's not going to open.
Right.
But focus on it doesn't mean you're pushing on a door. But I'm not going to move until I open that door. You'll be standing there for a pretty long time.
And I've started a dream log, so I've got like 30 dreams recorded so far.
Well, like I said, the energy, the morning when you wake up, the night when you go to sleep are all important to what happens during the day and what those dreams mean. Mm-hmm. So that's a good starting point of translation of what's going on in your inner world. The same as your outer world. We're the effect of this planet's karma right now.
And it's so crazy how, like, when I took your advice to start a dream log, how much I've learned about myself, pretty much, having recorded the dreams. It's amazing.
There's techniques, simple techniques that we can learn. Now, I don't know if you're still practicing, like looking in the mirror and looking how to see people's auras. You could go through that because it'll help you understand people.
Mm-hmm.
You see other people's auras, you start realizing where they are. And then you look in the mirror and you look at your own aura. That's an awakening right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll see the green, the black, and the gray, and all these colors that are droopy on these people. And you look in the mirror and you see yours is a lot brighter. That opens you up. All these little things help. If you don't put your attention on any of them, you're usually not giving gifts. I was a black sheep when I was born. And when I was with people, I couldn't understand being around people, my cousins, my brother, or anything. It was like always separate. It was, who are these people? Why are they in my lives? And all those kind of questions when I was born. So it's such a great awakening. when you put your attention on something more important than how many dollars I can make in a day, how many women I can have sex with, or any of those kind of ideas, how many footballs I can throw back and forth. I mean, where's that get you?
Mm-hmm.
All right, back to Christmas. The day's coming. The day will be here. And what are we going to do? Anything? Are we going to say, thank you, God, that we're still here? Thank you, God, for at least guiding me, opening my mind, opening my consciousness to being aware that you're there. And it's not there to protect you. It'll guide
I
you.
was just curious.
Good.
You personally, how do you usually celebrate or give your thanks on Christmas?
You know, I started today. I watched Boys, and it was their Christmas special. I mean, to me, I wasn't going to watch it. I said, yeah, I'll watch it. My partner's against Christmas, so it's really hard to play Christmas music. So I put it on. I put it on pretty loud so I could hear it good. And I just listened to songs and the way people sing it. And they put so much compassion into it, meaning they're connecting to that energy for the short period of time that they're singing the song or whatever.
Okay.
But energy of music goes much further than words do. Sure, words with music go a long way. But when I say a Tibetan teacher I had said to me, when you listen to music, see the vibration and follow it. Music goes somewhere, and it goes into the higher worlds. So if you can ride the wave of music, it can take you incredibly deeper into wherever you are than wherever you're at right now. So it does stimulate the body. So yeah, I was listening to it today, and I realized so many things just today.
Okay.
You know, how we perceived Christmas when we were little, how we were programmed what Christmas was, how we were programmed to who Jesus really was or wasn't, and all these little things. But how much truth were we given? Children, when they go in their room and play, suddenly they're with beings and everything else under the sun. And they're in a more real world than they are when they step out of it. And parents take that away from them right away.
Yeah, that's the sad part, what the education system is doing to them as well.
And then they got to bring Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and everybody else, the Tooth Fairy, Stork Fairy. I mean, all these different things into it to take your attention off of the truth. So it's mind-boggling how far we come and go, how far we can really go if we want to. But, you know, you listen to these speakers and listen to, well, the world's going to come to an end. Yeah, it's going to come to an end for you sooner or later, probably a lot sooner than later. I mean, 125 years in this world isn't a long time. I mean, I'm going to hit 70. I never, ever, ever thought I was going to get that far in my life. But when people age and your body starts deteriorating, you suddenly realize, was it all worth it? Well, then you say, well, how long do I want to stay in this body? Hopefully at that point, you say, it is time to let go of the body. I don't need to stay in it anymore. Sure, you got family and things, but you can't help them. You get sick and you're in the hospital for a year, taking all their money away that they won't have when you die. It's not a good thing. And sadly, the way our system is, make sure that happens to families. They lose their money, lose their home, lose whatever outrageous things they think they had because the medical bills just get higher. So I told my partner, I said, look, I don't want to go for many more operations if I don't have to. I mean, if I'm dead or half dead and they make me go in an operation, I can't stop it. But I told her, like, don't sign anything for me to stay here because there's nothing that I really need to stay for. I mean, I love you and everything, but I can't do anything if I'm dead or sick or can't move. So at that point, we have become aware of what soul is, and we should, because now you can realize that you're going to go to a better place. Knowing that makes things so much easier in life. If I get killed today, I'm free tomorrow. So unless you kill somebody, then it's the opposite.
You're going to come back.
Yeah, you're going to be stuck in this world in a lot more karma next time.
Yeah.
So people wonder why there's more homeless, starving people now than ever. Because people are coming back with worse karma than when they left. But when they think they left, they got rid of their karma and they come back with all the karma that they created. All right, suffering is probably the biggest form of karma. And you're dealing in starvation and stuff half of your life. Or
I was wanting to read a quote from your book to give a little inspiration to people. that are down and about. Here's one. Many souls don't realize they are unaware of their potential. What they need is a little spark to be awakened. So, like you mentioned earlier, it could be a dream or something, and tomorrow you'd realize, something that you never did,
See, that spark can come from a song. It can come from a sign. It can come from anything.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly hits soul, and soul says, hey, it's right. It's real. That's what I know what they're saying. I know what it is. Music, like I said, is probably the most simplest form of getting that connection. Being around children is almost the same. Being around a puppy, being around a cat, being around a kitten, it's very similar. Because here's a creature that knows very little bit about our reality, but it's willing to give what it can to this reality of you. Unconditionally. Dogs are so much more unconditional than cats are, but they give 100%. No matter what. Imagine being at that space to give 100%, no matter what. And I say, and I lectured my ex-wife, I lectured so many people, I said, look, relationships will never work unless a person's willing to give 100%. Not 98%, not 60%, not 50%. It has to be 100%, because then you're not going to judge any reaction on the opposite side of it. You're going to go along with it. And I mean, it's not like it's going to affect you. It'll affect the other person. The other person wants to cheat on you. That's their choice, but it'll take them away from what you have. And then they'll realize that they created the horrible karma that they might not want to have the rest of their life. But it's that percentage of being real to yourself. And the only way you can be that is if you accept that you are different. To say you're like everybody else, we're all one. No, you're not the rapist, you're not the murderer, you're not the abuser, you're not the cursor, you're not the drunk, you're not all those other things. Hopefully you're not. If you are, change it. It's never too late to start changing.
Yeah.
But people don't change 98% of the time. A prisoner gets out of jail, they become a rapist, a murderer, whatever they went in for, they're still doing it. They don't have a new reality to move into. So this I hope you're getting something out of today, people. You want to write to me, please do. Questions? Hold on one second. I got to take this call. Hold on 1 second. Hello? You okay? I'm in the middle of a show, but okay? You okay? Bye-bye. Sorry about that. My partner just took a long trip, and she went around the island, and she's at her son's house for Christmas. But, we each have to find what's really important in life. And until we do, we're never going to attain anything spiritual. And when we put it on low levels of things, like I want a new car, I want a new house, it's never going to attain what you really wish to attain, what soul wants. It'll deny itself to itself. It'll tell itself that's what it really wants. Or I want a swimming pool. Yeah, that's all great. But how many people actually use their swimming pool in a year's time? People want it and desire it, and then when they get it, it sits there.
And then it turns green.
I got a sweat lodge out there, and it's covered with water on top of it. I got to dump it out. I got to air it out. I got to do a lot of things.
Okay.
But I've been doing so many things that stop me from getting to the point of even using it right now. Not that I don't want to, but, trying to balance things out to get to the point where you try to work on something. That's why I do a show, because it always makes me stay on top of what truth really is and try to at least put it out there. And as long as you're putting it out there and trying to take it in, for me, I feel beneficial to be in here. If I didn't do that, what am I here for? Myself? Am I doing anything beneficial to the world? I'm trying that way. But without that, what am I doing? So there's things you need to do. Putting truth out there, you want to talk about the virus all day? You can. But can we help that? Can we stop it? Can we stop what's going to happen with that right now? We're on a giant snowball going down Mount Everest at full speed. What do you think is going to happen? That's going to get so big before it smashes into something and explodes. So we're going through that right now. And I don't think there's anybody that could just say, stop, snowball. No, it's wrong, and it's just building, building, and building. Trump's ego is getting worse. What he's doing is getting worse. The virus is getting worse. The ideas of people are getting worse and twisted. We're in trouble. And if we say that that's all that matters, no matter what happens, you have to always focus on what happens in the end. If we all died tomorrow, are we all going to go to the same place? No, we're not. Reincarnating is the same place. Getting out of that's a different place. So hopefully some souls will leave. But over reincarnation and reincarnation of over 100 years each time, a lot of souls stay here and come back here. So if you choose that, that's your choice. Like all these New Age and spiritualists out there preaching. Now, I just watched this picture. I never remember his name. One of the richest preachers in the United States. All the people are leaving the church because they found out how rich he was. Well, you're giving him all your money? Why? He lectures in front of 20,000 people. You don't think he has money? How much money did you think he had? $10? People are so ignorant. Oh, he's so rich now. He was always rich. The second you started buying his books, he was rich. He was making millions of dollars every year just on his book sales. So when you talk about his 20,000 people that donate money to the church and everything, guess what? He can do anything he wants with that money. And says it's to my church. But he preached about money. People, when people talk about things other than God, what are they talking about? Family? Well, you got to take care of your family. You got to have money. Yeah. But what about something better than that, like teaching them about God? Because if one of them got sick and was dying tomorrow, what am I going to tell them? Oh, God's up there waiting for you. Don't worry. No, we need to experience all those little things. And I already mentioned there was a technique called Kunlun. I studied with the teacher, and I was teaching with him for a while. Again, if you need that death experience, maybe that's the way a person needs to go, because it's a starting point. A death experience shows you that you can get out of the body and come back into it. And that's a starting point of realizing what soul really is. Remote viewing, you're just viewing a spot. Astral projection, you're trying to slide around the planet, look around, and see things. A soul travel means you're trying to go past the physical realm into the astral plane or even further. And that's
now. Had a question. Is there a difference in understanding a kid versus an adult going through the same experience? Like, if you're a kid and have an out-of-body experience, does that twist or change the experience as opposed to an adult?
Well, as I explained before, a child's much more open. They perceive so many things, but to perceive something, you have to have an awareness of it. So when they deal with an angel, they deal with a demon. When they deal with energy and light, it's different. It's what they focus on, but they truly don't understand it. As an adult, you can learn to understand that. But when you start to try to understand that, you doubt it and then erase it. So it's a double-edged sword. Being young is a good thing, unless you have a parent that's aware and able to help you become aware of what you're aware of. It's not as beneficial as like when you're not aware and you don't have parents that are teaching you or you're becoming aware. You don't have people that understand that and then explain it to you.
Okay.
So, an adult, there's very little awareness. So
okay. No, I asked because of that one experience I had as a kid.
Well, see that point when you see an angel or a spirit or whatever words you want, it's an incredible gift. But what happened to it? When I was 12, my mother said every experience I had wasn't real. For about a year and a half, I let go of the deity I work with. I let go of aliens. I let go of everything for about a year and a half. And then I was baptized. At that point, I saw my minister, and I said, "Oh, what is God?" "Well, nobody knows what God is." I said, "What's heaven look like?" "Well, nobody knows what heaven looks like." I said, "Well, what do you do in heaven?" "Nobody knows what you do in heaven." I said, "Well, that means you don't know nothing." And I walked away from being a Christian. And I realized they don't have an answer. I mean, I studied 14 other religions as well, but none of them had any truth about a God. So the programmed idea Now, Christianity had about God and Jesus is a twisted story. It takes away who and what Jesus really was. Well, Jesus was God. If Jesus was God, he could wave his magic wand and change the whole world if that's what it wanted to do. Then try to tell stupid, ignorant people, become aware, wake up. No, Jesus was a man. A gifted one.
Yeah, I forgot what number it is. Is it the Council of 9 or 12?
Council of 9.
9, okay.
Remember 369? And that's why they came up with 69 as the symbol for the devil?
Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking 12. I don't know why.
Well, basically, the Trinity is based on 3. So Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, but it's you, soul, and God.
Okay.
There's a meaning and there's reasons why everything became what it was. And they say, well, no, it's all numbers, it's all vibration, it has to do with. You can limit it to it. God created things, but it had to be created out of a system that allowed it to happen, meaning air, energy, and all those other kind of words.
Mm-hmm.
So for science to understand all of that at the same time, that one being could be aware and control all that is impossible. But if you don't understand a God, how could you understand that? Well, God is a man that sits on a throne. No, it's not. Never was. And when man always gives the image of a man to God, they lose any aspect of what a God really is. And then they fill it with aliens that look like a being or a creature or whatever, and that's their replacement for a real God. Go into the dictionary today. Pull up what is God? Super powerful being. Oh man, I mean anybody with superpowers is a God? To the human race they are. To alien races they are. I mean the word of God itself changed.
Yeah. Good luck getting any real answers in this world.
You know, answers to what you want is more important than what we say we need. Everybody needs to know. No, people don't need to know what they don't need to know and they don't want to know. When you make the decision to become aware, then you need to know. And then you need to know the limits, the abilities, and all the other things that come along with that. There's 32 psychic abilities. You can pull up 125 online, but there's stupid ones like throwing sticks up in the air and throwing tea leaves on the ground and all that. But I mean, raising the dead, changing of levitation, clairvoyancy, telepathy, all those other kind of words. But they're not usable now. If any person, and I say this over and over, if any person had that ability, they could change the world tomorrow. Not making it better.
No.
Just playing with psychic abilities doesn't make things better, especially if you have no awareness. I'm going to raise the level of the vibration of the planet. You don't have the right to do that. Who do you think you are? Every soul has its own right to do what it wants. And the most important law that I don't think too many people even know what it is. I hope you remember what it was, but I'm going to say it. The law of non-interference. Yeah. No soul has the right to interfere in another soul unless they're asked into it. An angel can't come into your life.
I've got those laws bookmarked here. 6 of them.
Well, the first law, which is the most important. And you can't, an angel won't come into your life unless you allow it into it and ask it to come in. It's an invasion of space, which we all have as a soul. But if you're unaware of all that, you can say and do whatever you want, believe whatever you want, and expect anything you want.
Yeah.
Miracles happen, but there's also the word coincidence. Well, he was saved by this or that. Well, there's so many coincidences that always happen as well. Something's falling down and something pushes you out of the way or things like that. Well, God did it. No, somebody saw it coming down and going to hit you on the head and they pushed you out of the way. It's not that contradictory. I mean, it is contradictory to what the human race believes, to what really is happening. Soul is aware of everything around it. Everything. When you can get to that level of being aware of that, you're becoming an aware being. Then you can see a car coming. You can know it's going to hit you if you stand there. You can know that this is going to happen. My partner is right on about everything she says.
So all those individuals that are telling stories, oh my gosh, this bus almost hit me and all that stuff. It's really just, get into that awareness is is what it is.
Well, it's beautiful. It gets more beautiful, not in a physical level. I mean, I'm in more pain and more kinds of problems than I ever had in my whole life. And I said, I wanted to go out, all the pain in 1 week, but it's kind of being stretched out right now. But the idea that it's not going to be like this when I leave this body again is incredible. Will I be in love with people? I'll be in love with soul.
What are Hawaii's laws on marijuana?
Well, you need a medical license. I mean, a doctor to say you need it right now. All those things are up to change next month. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
It could change, become legal. I mean, they're saying the feds don't want to make it legal because they don't want it to get too far out of their hands.
Mm-hmm.
But they'd rather put people for smoking a joint in jail than a prisoner that just killed somebody. It's pathetic.
Well, here's what I find so funny. Cigarettes are legal, but marijuana is not.
The same as liquor's legal and everything else isn't. It kills more people than any other drug, medicine, and thing out there right now.
Oh, my goodness.
And in a bad way, running over families in a car and things like that, beating their people up. It's the sickest drug out there that everybody can do legally. I was president, I'd outlaw liquor. Sorry, people, you'd have to give up that. You'd be allowed to smoke marijuana, but you won't be allowed to do ice, crack, and any other ones. And they'll be the ones that will be in rehab permanently until they get straightened. But I'd be a hard person. People don't want to deal with the truth, and you have to force it upon them, and then you become the evil person. You don't know what you're talking about. I got free will. Free will doesn't mean free to hurt other people. You can do whatever you want to yourself. Deal whatever karma you want to yourself, but you don't have a right to create karma for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Drop a bomb on the planet and blow it up. You created karma for everybody on the planet, including yourself. So there's a fine line that we need to really respect, which people don't. And the simple word that I use a lot is morals. If you don't know what morals mean, you should learn what they are and then live by them. They're simple. They're not complicated. I mean, but mankind has 10 commandments. Well, they're all useless. No, they're not. Tell me one in there that hurts mankind. One of the 10 commandments. I mean, there's another sentence that goes under each one of them. And basically when it says, honor thy mother and father, and it says the father and mother have to honor thy children, it's the same thing. It's a two-way cycle. Everything's a two-way cycle, whether people want to look at it that way or not.
Yeah.
What you think that you have to do, the others have to do it too. For it to work in balance, we all have to respect each other, which is not happening.
Nope.
Color should not be an issue. It becomes an issue. And then what happens is the people in that path get pulled into the idea that they are the ones that are persecuted. I mean, the first prisoners in the United States and slaves were Irish. And nobody wants to bring that up and talk about it. Then when they brought 300 children slaves into the United States, nobody wants to talk about that. So it wasn't like the native people were the first slaves or the black people were the first slaves. Go back all through Egypt. What do you think the people that built the pyramids were slaves? What do you think about all those people that did all that hard work? Do you think they wanted to do it? You don't think they were forced into do it? And where do you think all that food came from? See, they talk about one thing, but they didn't talk about the gardens they must have had to feed all these people. And the water, clear, purified water, and all those other things that had to be there to feed these kind of people that do that kind of work. Oh, the aliens just did everything. No, the aliens didn't just do everything. I mean, they did help, but they didn't do everything. So, we came such a long way to get nowhere. You think 30,000 years, 50,000 years, mankind would have realized we don't need to fight with each other. We don't need to kill each other. We don't need to kill animals to eat and all the other things. We still make food supposedly healthy that's super toxic. Oh, I see a commercial for candy bar. It has no sugar. It has raw, natural, I forgot, whatever. I said, well, that's not sugar. That's a natural sugar is not the same as sugar. But people tear things apart and they want it to be this way. Organic. Organic's a make-believe word. You can't have organic anything on this planet. The Earth is becoming radioactive. Chemtrails are destroying the whole balance system of the Earth and everything else in that. No matter what you grow, where you grow it.
Oh, do you take your detector to the grocery store?
Oh, I did. I found out one of the towers, it's not radioactive anywhere in the whole lot in the new mall, which is probably the 5G tower. And they converted it. But there was two towers.
Yeah.
The other tower is maybe like in the next parking lot, which is the next little mall right next to it. It's radioactive around it. Not next to it, not within like 25 feet of it, but from there on, it's radioactive. And I drove all the way home, and I realized almost until I was like 2 blocks from my house was the different radioactive levels in between that. But I passed to school, and it was radioactive to the T. The thing started beeping.
If you think that's bad, in the school themselves, they've got wireless routers every 5 feet or so.
Well, I'm not talking about routers. I found out all the nuclear bombs were buried right near where the school was.
Oh.
The radiation from that's leaking out.
Nobody knows about this? What the heck?
Oh, they know about it. They're not going to dig them up. They would hate to see them explode. That would contaminate part of Hawaii. So what people don't see and don't know, they don't talk about.
Oh, boy.
So the earthquake just happened 2 days ago. The lava just started spewing out 2 days ago as well. So now that can turn back into what it was 2 years ago. Real easy. It's shooting out lava. There was a lake there, and it's filling the lake up with lava right now.
Yeah.
And if that lake fills up, it'll start pouring down greatly, which means we've got to see which way it's going to pour.
Yeah.
So I'm not going there yet. I mean, I was never worried about it. I said, if it takes me out, it takes me out.
Well, you're in Pahoa?
I'm in Pahoa on the Big Island. The Big Island's the one that has the active volcano all the time. It stopped. It was pretty mellow for a while, but it just blew 2.5 days ago, and it could cause serious problems in the near future. So I don't worry about things like that. I think about the things we cause to make it happen. We test bombs in Hawaii. They test bombs on the mountain, and they're documented in the library even. So, when you think government weapons are beneficial and they're doing the right thing, for who? For war? The war weapons that are created right now are a danger to everybody, not one country. You think if Russia or China dropped a bomb on the United States, it wouldn't affect the world greatly, instantly? So they know if we go to nuclear war, it's the end for most of the planet. The United States government built underground cities for that reason. And people don't want to believe the truth. They'd rather believe that everything's good. Aliens are helping us move forward. Really? We can't keep a relationship together. We can't keep our children in harmony with each other. How we expect to be united with 7.8 billion people? Different countries, different gods. The world will never be at peace with multiple gods. Sorry, people, it can't happen. The accepting of one God, you'd have to prove and understand what a God is in the first place. And I've been trying to do that for a long time. But people rather believe God is this loving, compassionate being. And you think if it was so loving and compassionate, it would protect children, it would help the world unite and all those things. But it doesn't. Why not? Because the idea of what a God is in hell doesn't exist. So on this Christmas day, please, I want you to sit back, close your eyes, think about a God, your God. Do you believe in a God? What's it mean to you? What's it do for you? What is it? What happens when you die? Are you going to see God? And all those things. Just imagine what's really going on in your reality. How does it really affect you? Where is it really taking you? All right? And then tell yourself, oh, I'm right. I know that's all right. I believe what I believe in. Because you were programmed to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Experience, I tell you, Sasha, over and over. If you don't have an experience, it will never be true. It will never be a total awareness that you need to have.
Mm-hmm.
Accepting of somebody writing a book and what they wrote in it, like, oh, the Anunnaki or this story or that story, is it helping you? Do you want to believe the Anunnaki made us better? What did they make better about mankind? We always had two arms, 2 hands, 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 eyes, 2 ears. What was different? I mean, now that they're cloning humans with animals, I'm telling you, I bet you they're going to try to clone a human with a bird. See if they can put wings on a human and get to the idea that angels had wings to fly. You know, it's a twisted idea, but people accept that as reality. But cloning animals right now is sad. I mean, one of the reasons is for body parts. But they showed a pig that's cloned, looks just like a human, and they could take his heart, liver, kidney, and put it in a person. While they kill that creature, whatever they created. It's sad. Where man goes with his thinking and his idea of freedom is so twisted. You know, time's running. I've been on talking for a long time. I don't know how many people came and went. But if you're here now, please send this link to everybody else, anybody you can. Maybe they'll stay and stick around and listen. I don't do this show for money. I'm not doing this to boost my ego in any way. I'm just trying to help you take your next step to understand who and what you are. It doesn't matter who I am. It doesn't matter who Sasha is. It matters who you are. Where you're going when you die. What are you really doing while you're here? Oh, I'm going to make money. And that's going to make you spiritual? Going to make you aware? It's going to give you an understanding of a God? What you put your attention on usually brings it to you. People that focus on money bring money into their life. People that focus on anger bring that into their lives. Hate and all those things. What you focus on usually comes into your reality. Luckily for me, I had so many horrible things when I was little. I didn't want any of that in my life now. I mean, abuse and all those other kind of things. But we focus on the wrong things most of the time.
Yeah.
I don't care what your vice is. Everybody has a vice. Drinking, smoking, women, sports. Keep it to a point where it doesn't affect anybody else. As long as you're not interfering with other people's lives, other people's way of thinking, if they don't want it. Now, you're here. If you're in my show, on my show, you're here because you came on yourself. I didn't make you come on.
Right.
If I grabbed you with a knife or a gun and said, you got to listen to my show now.
Tommy's using hypnosis to bring people over.
Yeah, hypnotize people. I mean, Hitler did it to his army, to his country.
Yeah.
He used the power of suggestion, which Kreskin taught me when I was a little kid, how to use it to control people. Now, the whole hypnotizing world and their teachings and all the schooling are lies. They don't teach you nothing true about it. They don't teach you the actual effects it can cause or create. I did it when I was 12, and I started doing it. I started doing mass hypnosis by the time I was 14. And it's all real, people, but it's dangerous. And something that I learned, which very few hypnotists even have a clue, when I hypnotize a person, and I'm telling you this is a fact, if I hypnotize you right now, I hypnotize everything around you because they all got to work through your consciousness. So when I do that, if I hypnotize you, I hypnotize all the entities around you, or the demons, or even if there's angels. And when they talk, they all want to talk through you. So when people say, well, they said they were this, or they said that, it could have been any one of those entities talking through them. Why do you think people, when they go into trance, talk in tongue, and they talk all these different languages and all these different things? Every entity that can't be recognized by people want to be recognized.
And it becomes like a free-for-all for them because they want to get in and communicate.
Unless you're aware of protection, how to build a shield around the room, the house, and the person you're working with, all those things are really critical. And if you're not an aware being, you don't know how to deal with entities when they do pop in. And then you kind of let them stay inside a person, which is even worse. You know, I've been there. I've done it. I was working with demons. I did exorcism. All those things. You learn by doing them, not by hearing about them. You don't understand how real they are until you see it. So we have a pretty long way to go in developing and becoming more aware. If we can attain that or not, it's a different story. But I'm telling you this. I thank you for coming on for Easter. Think about what Easter really is, what Jesus really was, what he was trying to teach to people. And it's not the programmed idea. I'm sorry to tell you that. It was the most spiritual being that ever walked this planet, and so was Mary Magdalene. She had all his abilities. She had to teach them how to heal and all the other words that they learned. So, again, Jesus didn't have time to do that. So, and then Mary had to run once they decided they had to kill her too. But she traveled the world. And Thomas, who was one of Jesus' favorite disciples, also traveled to India. And he taught Jesus' teaching in India at that time frame. So, the truth is there. If you're willing to look for it, find it, or accept it. But remember, what you think you know is probably not even close to the truth, unless you experience it. Any last words, Sasha?
No, I just want to thank you, and I'm glad I caught your live show.
Well, it's always a pleasure. Tune in. I do a show every Tuesday with Tina Bird, and she's been abducted half of her life. I deal with truth. I put my life on the line. I'm not promoting people's programmed ideas or what aliens and what good aliens and bad aliens are doing for us, because they're not doing anything good for us. When there is, if I ever see it, I'll be the first to talk about it. Roswell, Picatinny Arsenal, where Tesla was working up with the government and army and everything else, and all those things with the army flooding a city when the ships were going in and out of it. Well, that's real, but is it really helping anybody? When I was born, 1952, fleets of army ships, UFO'S, flew over the White House twice in 1 week. And that's when Truman decided he had to create MJ-12. But basically, he started forming it when the first ship happened. But when that happened, he realized we were in trouble. With that, everybody, peace, love, have a happy Christmas, have a happy New Year. May you wake up to the truth, look for it, find it, and really search out what you believe in and how does it really help you in life. Oh, I did this. Oh, I'm still alive. Still alive doesn't mean anything. The closer you get coming to being closer to the inner worlds, to the higher worlds, is the most important thing in life and death. So with that, till next time, from Hawaii, Tommy Hawksblood, please send this link to everybody you know and you can. If they want to watch it, they will. If they don't, they won't. So, till then.
I heard Gizmo.
He's right there now for the first.
He's chilling. All right, everyone, take care, and as always, thank you for your time, Tommy.
Pleasure. All right, everybody. Thank you. See Mr. Gizmo back there? He's saying hi. Right, Gizzo? Say hello, everybody. Gizzy. Tell him hi. He's shaking his head. He hears us. Well, if you want love in your life, I hope you get it. You want peace in your life, hope you get it. But we're in hell, and it's pretty shaky right now. The little bits of that you have, hold on to it. See, now he's saying hi. Good boy, Mr. Gizzy. All right, everybody. You heard it here. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Right, Gizmo. You're right on.